The Battle of Installation 04 is just around the corner, and there's only one human warship involved in that engagement, the UNSC Pillar of Autumn. So I figured today we could take a brief look at the history of the Pillar of Autumn and what led us up to this point. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So many of us are very familiar with the Pillar of Autumn. It's a key setting in Halo 1 and played a very important role in the Battle of Installation 04. But not much is discussed about the Autumn's history before that battle, and I figured today we can cover the history of the Pillar of Autumn up to its departure from Reach. So let's just start at the beginning. The Pillar of Autumn was constructed at the Reyes-McLeese shipyard on Mars in 2507 before the outbreak of the Human Covenant War. It was a Halcyon-Class light cruiser. These light cruisers were known for their durability. Well, they didn't have the armament that many other cruisers within the UNSC had, making them a little bit weak on the offensive side. They had a very strong, rigid internal structure, allowing them to take quite a beating. Throughout the Human Covenant War, the Halcyons would gain this reputation for being able to sort of take a couple good hits before they go down for good. And we don't know much about the Pillar of Autumn's history before the outbreak of the Human Covenant War, or really during the first few years of the war, but we know that she was present at the Battle of Arcadia in 2531. She was part of a fleet of ships defending Arcadia against the Covenant assault. Standing alongside the Pillar of Autumn was the UNSC Belfast, the UNSC Texas, and the UNSC Armstrong, who formed a defensive fleet that engaged several Ket-pattern destroyers over the planet of Arcadia. In this engagement, the Autumn was able to significantly damage one of these Covenant destroyers with a blast from her MAC cannon, but in response, the other destroyer basically laid waste to the UNSC formation, destroying the Armstrong, Texas, and the Belfast, and leaving the Pillar of Autumn significantly damaged. When the Spirit of Fire arrived at Arcadia, they found the Pillar of Autumn venting atmosphere over the planet. Now, Pillar of Autumn wasn't completely down, but she was crippled bad enough that she had to pull back from this engagement. During the engagement on the ground, the Pillar of Autumn did provide several pieces of ground equipment to UNSC forces fighting on Arcadia, by the way. After this engagement, she was brought back and presumably repaired, because she would reappear a few years later as a Halcyon refit class. It's likely that this refit was a result of the battle damage she suffered during the Battle of Arcadia. Now, she was given a substantial refit because she had a new job. While the Halcyon class were starting to show their age and the more capable Marathon class were taking their roles within UNSC battle groups, the Pillar of Autumn was selected as a sort of carrier vessel for the UNSC's Spartan program. This was specifically for an operation known as Operation Red Flag, the objective of which would be to commandeer a Covenant warship, use that warship to sneak into the Covenant capital, take several Covenant leaders hostage, and then hold them for ransom to force the Covenant to the negotiating table. This plan was being prepared in 2552 over Reach. During this time, the Pillar of Autumn was reinforced with temporary reinforcing beams to give her hull even more rigidity, given the means to carry out large boarding operations, and given a garrison of Spartans. However, before this operation could be pulled off, the Covenant launched their assault on Reach in August of 2552, with the Autumn immediately being redirected to join the battle group at one of humanity's most important worlds. As a result, the Pillar of Autumn took place in the space battles during the second part of the Battle of Reach. And remarkably, the Pillar of Autumn survived the Battle of Reach relatively unscathed. She did take some good hits and did need some minor repairs, but they were all done relatively quickly. In the later part of that battle, she was recalled back to the Azod shipyard. Now, Captain Jacob Keyes, who was in command of the Pillar of Autumn, intended to flee the system with his ship, but being recalled by Catherine Halsey, he had no choice but to land on Reach at the Azod shipyard, where he received Cortana, the AI that would ultimately make some of the key decisions that would put the Pillar of Autumn where it needed to be for the Battle of Installation 04. After successfully acquiring Cortana, the Pillar of Autumn fought its way off of Reach, blasting its way through the Covenant fleet in orbit and jumping to slipspace, following coordinates that had just been spat out by Cortana without any real thought. Now, the original thought of the crew of the Autumn were that these coordinates were random, basically just anywhere but here, but in reality these were coordinates that were extracted from a Forerunner artifact on Sigma Octantis 4. And these coordinates would lead the Pillar of Autumn to Installation 04 on September 19th, 2552, beginning the Battle of Installation 04. If you'd like to learn more about the Halcyon-Class, the class that the Pillar of Autumn is part of, I'll leave a link up here to a video I have all about the Halcyon-Class. It'll go over some weapon specifications and stuff like that. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think it makes sense to use the sturdy Halcyon-Class for something like Operation Red Flag, where you intend to board a Covenant vessel, or do you think a different UNSC ship type would have been a better fit for that mission profile? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Halo, Star Wars, or anywhere else in science fiction, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.